We're gathered here today to discuss Wicker, which is a movie that is coming out, and let me tell you, the women are loving it. I wanted to talk about it because there's some controversy around it that I thought was pretty interesting, and I was trying to find an excuse to discuss it anyway because I just thought this was so interesting. As soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, damn. Even as a queer woman, I was looking at it, I was like, you know, this looks like it would be kind of fun to watch. So Wicker is an adult dark fantasy fable that stars Olivia Colman playing a fisherwoman who is pretty much fed up with her town, fed up with everything that's going on around there, and she pretty much has this local basket maker who is played by Peter Dinklage to weave her a husband. The guy that has all the women in a chokehold. It has been crazy. The type of content I've been seeing coming out about this movie, I'm like, wow, that the fact that women are collectively, at least women who are attracted to men, are like collectively like on this shit. Not even just the women, the gay men too. Anybody who's attracted to men is like absolutely excited about this movie, and I'm like, oh my gosh, the movie theater is gonna be crazy. I don't want to know the type of freaky shit they're gonna be doing. If you go into the movie theater, bro, like, good luck to you. I'm praying for you. You know what I mean? Like, by the time you get out of that theater, your life is not gonna be the same probably. Because I just know people are gonna be in there doing some freaky shit. I already know. I've heard stories about what people do when these type of movies come out. So I'm like, I'm not even surprised. So as soon as I saw this movie, it was definitely giving me like a Pinocchio vibe, or like a Frankenstein, or like a Pygmalion story. And so I was like, you know, I actually kind of find this type of storytelling very intriguing. So it's, despite it being familiar, I think just the realization and just realizing like humans' weird fascination with creating partners or children out of raw material needs to be studied. Like, the idea of it sounds like weird but also intriguing at the same time. Like, I would have never even like imagined. This story seems like something that would have come out of like a Wattpad or somebody's like deepest fantasies, or like just random freaky ass thoughts, or imagine, I don't know, somebody with imaginative freaky ass mind thought about this shit and was like, you know what, like let me make a movie about this. Somebody was been fantasizing about something like this before. I don't know.
This better not awaken anything in me.
But anyways, it seemed really valid of a story. And the thing is, when I first saw the trailer, I was freaked out. The dude looks creepy to me. I was just like, okay, is this like a thriller? Like, it's gonna be like, is he gonna turn on her or something? Is it gonna be some weird shit? But it doesn't seem like it's gonna be that way. And also, he doesn't seem like he's gonna be like a scary type of dude, but he looks kind of freakish to me. So I was like, you know, it'd be really cool if this is like type of like a horror movie or something like that. But then some people were making up really like good points as far as like seeing an older woman that's pretty much the, you know, she gets to be in love and all that type of stuff, because usually older women in movies don't really get to have that. And so it is, honestly, I think that's also something that had caught me off guard in a sense, because usually with stories like this, you would expect there to be like a younger woman or something like that. But the fact that this is an older woman, I think is also very cool and very interesting. I'm like, yeah, let her get her back blown out by a twig man. But, you know, like, I'm happy for her, you know, go girl. I like this idea of like an older woman kind of being able to have this experience or whatever. Morality and the morals of it all, like, I'm not gonna mention that stuff. I mean, I feel like that's also a discussion in of itself, but it's not what this video is about. But just in general, I think it's really cool to get like a love story that's weird. Like, this is kind of a weird, you know, scenario or whatever, but I like the idea of it. Like, just on the surface and looking at it from a surface level, I'm like, it seems like it's gonna be a fun movie. It's not like the typical like rom-com type of thing going on here. I don't really know what to really place it or like what to expect from the movie, but it seems like it's probably just gonna be like a love story. And shit, it has a whole little village, got all the people in a little tizzy or whatever, and some of the women like, you know, I would do it, you know what I'm saying? And I also have some interesting clips going around too of like, I guess the Wicker Man's like male parts and stuff like that. When I heard it, like, you know, you could hear it, you know, in one of the scenes in the trailer, and I was just like, what the hell is even that? And then like the next clip, I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, yeah, the women are gonna love this. They're gonna love this movie. And apparently, one of the, I think a UK trailer showed his parts on there, and I guess the women were loving that too. So I don't know, man. This is for some freaky ass women, that's for damn sure. But anyways, to get to the point of what I want to talk to here is pretty much just highlighting how rare it is and refreshing it is to see, like, you know, when Hollywood like embraces a completely different, out there, like fable like concept like this, instead of like what would usually be considered to be safe franchise material. Like, we're getting something that's new, something that's unique, and I love that type of shit. Like, make it weird, make it like bizarre. I don't care. I think this is what I've been talking about on this channel, is just getting fresh and new ideas and different concepts and just throwing the shit at the wall. You know what I'm saying? Throwing ideas out there. I'm gonna rephrase that. Throwing, just putting stuff out there, just being creative. And I think that's where you get some good stuff sometimes. And so with this movie, it seems like they're being creative, stepping out of the, what we're usually accustomed to, and getting some new ideas and fresh ideas. This seems like something that, like I said, I would have never thought about something like this. And so that's why I'm personally very much intrigued by it. Like, I wouldn't mind watching it, checking it out, like just getting the story of it. Seems like it's gonna be funny, so why not? I think it's like the type of bizarre originality that like modern cinema needs right now, especially considering everything that we've been getting. I feel like the most unique and bizarre like type of ideas and stuff like that has been what people are craving. Clearly, you can see that with the type of stuff that we're seeing, especially when it's just like well written. And this seems like something that could be possibly well written. From the looks of it, it looks like it's gonna be, like I said, it looks like it's gonna be more than just horny shit. It seems like there's gonna be like maybe some backstory, some depth. We'll see how that goes. But I do think, like I said before, we need more, not content exactly like this, but just bizarre new ideas, new concepts, and keep things fresh. So I wanted to get into the meat and potatoes of the situation, which is the controversy that's been surrounding this movie a little bit, which is how people, like especially men in particular, have been reacting to this movie. Some people calling it weird, bizarre, stuff like that. And so people have been calling out the double standard, because when usually we have like a movie where we have like a guy that's with like something that's not exactly a woman, when it comes to like men falling in love with the non-human entities. Like, we have a couple examples here. So there's Her, there's Ex Machina, Blade Runner 2049, Lar and the Real Girl. And there are countless stories where certain things like this have happened, where it's not a human woman, but it's some type of like non-human entity that a man falls in love with. And so it's very interesting to see how it's viewed in different perspectives. So when it comes to a man in these type of positions, these particular stories are often treated as if they're profound or tragic, or a melancholic exploration of human grief, loneliness, and existential philosophy.
You look lonely. I can fix that.
And the double standard is that when it comes to Wicker, the second a middle-aged woman hires a craftsman to weave a husband, this court labels it as unhinged, cringe, or pointless. I asked a question of like, why is male loneliness in film framed as like deep sci-fi art, or just like it has a certain type of depth to it, emotion to it, like you're supposed to be able to relate or understand the person or whatever. But like female loneliness is like kind of framed as absurd, you know what I'm saying? And so I guess I've heard a couple of people say that it comes off as like desperation, and maybe it is, but what's wrong with that? That's what we've seen a lot of times with stories like this when it comes to men in the same positions. I just find it rich that when it's a woman, it's completely received differently than otherwise. So a lot of people have been pointing out how this movie is not for the male gaze, and when it comes to media and stuff like that, a lot of it is sometimes targeted towards men a lot of times. So to get something like this that's completely something we rarely get for women, and when it comes to media and stuff like that, of course, because it's new and it's different, there are going to be people that feel like uncomfortable about it or weird about it, which is like, okay, whatever. I don't think it's something that's supposed to feel necessarily like, it's supposed to be bizarre. It's supposed to be a little bit unsettling because it's different. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't something that, it's not normal in a sense, right? It comes off as if it's supposed to be fun. It's just a fun thing. I think when it comes to Hollywood, it's rare to ever see Hollywood centering an older female lead's desires and autonomy and fantasy without molding it around traditional tropes. And that's why I'm really excited about this movie. I think this is why a lot of women in particular are excited, because they're like, wow, older women finally get to have the spotlight. Like, hell yeah, like get that shit, you know what I'm saying? But stories like this, I love to see it, because women do deserve to have these stories as well. Like, just kind of like a little bit of fun, you know what I mean? In like a fantasy sort of way, you know what I'm saying? Like these sort of like bizarre, weird scenarios, right? For the people who love men, right? This is something that they're absolutely excited for, that they're hyped for, because really, like I said before, they don't really get a lot of that. And so despite the double standard, I'm like, I hope that we can continue to just bring out stories that are more diverse like this, or, just kind of tell more stories that could be relatable to different types of audiences. And so, of course, you also have the conversation around the dating pool and like dating fatigue, and especially like I guess you say modern dating and stuff like that, and some women having some issues in that area. Can't relate, but best of luck to you. We can't control the cards that we are dealt. Boom. So I feel like some people look at this as like, what, reasonable alternative. Like, we can't blame this woman for doing that. If I could do it, I would have done that shit. Like I said, this isn't about morality in this video, but just playing around on the surface level, of course. So like, it's like the next best option. Why don't you just create yourself a man? So shit. I mean, for me, like I said, this would have made a great horror movie, but because of how, like, I think important it is for certain people, I can understand and I enjoy this being a love story, and so that's cool. So yeah, no, I don't feel like it's fair to have a double standard when it comes to stuff like this. Of course, when it comes to any non-human entity that is having a romantic relationship with a human, it is awkward, it is strange, it is weird, but that's across the board, you know what I'm saying? It just seems like it's meant for fun, you know, nothing too crazy, nothing too deep, and the women are liking it. The core audience that this movie is meant for is loving that shit. But yeah, I mean, shit, women need to have fun too, like make it fun for them too. And so yeah, I love this as far as like a creative sort of direction for cinema, and I'm just hoping that we get more, like I said, more weird, like original fables with bizarre premises, and I think it's exactly what we need nowadays, clearly. Like, I know this movie's gonna make bank, I just know it. Those movie theaters are about to be packed. But anyways, that's my video. I know I didn't really go into like deep depth into anything. I just kind of wanted to address the conversation and kind of give my little 2 cents onto the whole situation. But all in all, like I said, I think this is going to be, I'm excited to see what the storytelling is going to be for this movie in particular, because it seems like I said, even though this is going to be fun, it's going to be a little bit weird and strange. I do feel like, especially with the woman in the situation and also the Wicker Man, I feel like there's going to be some depth there as well, just beyond like the freaky shit, you know what I'm saying? And so I think I'm ready to see what the conversation is going to be around the film and a deeper meaning behind it. But yes, that is my 2 cents, and I'll see you guys in the next one.